So apparently this is how all the cool kids are wearing the hoodies nowadays. You know, like that girl off Dr. Phil. Gonna me and the party afterwards. Fuck yeah, god damn it. No, thank God I'm not a cool kid. So a couple of things, business, before we get into today's video, folks. Number one, if you didn't see, late last night, midnight UK time, I actually posted up my Division 2 video. And apparently YouTube had a bit of a glitch and it hasn't gone out to pretty much anyone. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on the Division 2, go check out that video. It's the one just below this. And also, I just want to give you an update. If you watched my Left Alive video, which some of you did, it was their latest offering from Square Enix. Now, it hasn't gone down well in Japan, and Square did a bit of a boo-boo because they banned streaming of it because they didn't want to have bad press leading up to the Western release. When you ban streaming, you're going to get bad press. But that's just by the by. Go check out that video as well. However, I pre-ordered a collector's edition. Why? Because I love pre-ordering? No. Because of Yoji Shinkawa's involvement. Yoji Shinkawa, currently at Kojima Productions, he did all the designs for Metal Gear Solid. And therefore, he's got an art book in there. He's got a mech model, which is designed by him for the game in there as well. So I pre-ordered it for those purposes. However, Square Enix, sent me 2 collector's editions and charged me for only 1. I had only ordered 1, so why would you charge me for 2? Now, as of this video, I'm an honest person, and I did contact Square Enix 3 days ago and said, Square, I purchased 1, you charged me for 1, but you sent me 2. They haven't got back to me. Haven't got back to me at all. So maybe Square are giving me a little early Yom Kippur present. So with that said, let's get into some jiggling physics. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. So in today's video, we're going to delve into the world of Dead or Alive. Ladies. And hey, no kink shaming here. I'm a kink shaming free zone, each to their own. In actual fact, I'm going to stick up for some elements of this because I think there's a lot of kind of hypocrisy out there, which I will call out momentarily. But that isn't the main body of the video. Their body. Ladies. This is really about what happens when you completely mismanage, mismarket, and missell your game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dead or Alive 6. It covers all of those bases. So, first things first. You might be aware of the Dead or Alive series. If you're not, very brief introduction for you. Dead or Alive series started on PlayStation 1 way back when. In actual fact, I think in the 1990s, to be honest with you. 1997, maybe? 98? Possibly. Around about that time, I think, the first Dead or Alive game came out. And what separated Dead or Alive from the rest of the brawlers was the fact that it had a lot of female fighters who were stacked, is what I'm trying to say. And they also had the jiggle physics. And this was something we hadn't really seen in the brawler before, and it got itself a target audience. Like I said, no kink shaming going on here. The series progressed from console to console, and the heart of the game remained the same. It was always considered, in my eyes anyway, to be a decent brawling game. You know, a decent brawling game, but it had, very attractive ladies with buxom parts that did plenty of bouncing. It sounds like a winner to me. Now, I want to first the hypocrisy that I wanted to call out is if somebody wants to kink shame this game, you are a hypocrite. Full stop. End of. There is no discussion here. Because we all know what we get up to. And I say the collective we behind closed doors. Yeah? We all have our fantasies. We all have our preferences. And just because somebody likes bananas doesn't mean that you should wag a finger at people who like oranges or apples or strawberries or blueberries or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So if this is your bag, if this is what you get off on, fine. Absolutely, no problem there. That's your kettle of fish. In actual fact, kind of kudos to the developers of this game for producing something titillating, literally, and something which does cater to a specific audience, while at the same time offering decent gameplay, decent brawler gameplay. So yeah, and there's a lot of characters which people like, and it's not just all about that. The characters have developed over time, etc., etc. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. I might be wrong. I'm flying by the seat of my panties right now. But I believe the Dead or Alive series was the series that first introduced moving battle arenas mid-fight. You would hit an opponent, they would smash through something, and they'd fall down to a new battle arena. I do think Dead or Alive was the series that first did that in either Dead or Alive 3 or 4. I think. If I'm wrong, feel free to just call me out. Don't get mad about it, but feel free to correct me in the comment section down below. And if that is true, which I think it is, I could be wrong, but if that is true, then, that added something to the fighting genre, which many fighting games took from. So, it has actually helped evolve the brawler franchises throughout, Tekken and etc., Street Fighter, etc., etc. So it has actually had an influence on that. So there is an influential element to the Dead or Alive series too. Now, I think Dead or Alive 5 came out in 2012. I think. That was the last offering in the series until the recent Dead or Alive 6. And a lot has changed in those years, and not necessarily for the better at all. I think social media has become a plague, to be perfectly honest with you. I think outrage culture, snowflake culture, the alt-left, I'm not calling them the far left, they're the alt-left. The virtue-signaling hypocrites who are just as bad as the alt-right. They're just as racist, they're just as sexist, homophobic, bigoted, they're just the whole lot. Just as bad as the alt-right, but they dress themselves up in a cloak of virtue. And of course, this plague, which is social media now, means that everyone is ready to offend, everybody is ready to get angry, everyone is ready to wag a finger. And so a game, of course, which sexualizes ladies, exaggerates their assets, as well as putting in physics to accentuate said assets, is a huge target. There is a big target on that product. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. It's catering to an audience. At least it was. Because the marketing surrounding Dead or Alive 6 got so confusing. Because they initially came out, and I say there's the developers, and stressed that they were toning down. I think those are the exact words. They were toning down the series. They were playing down the sexiness of the game series, the franchise, which it had become famous for, and they were going to focus more on the brawling aspect of it. Now, I think this was a really bad move. Number one, if you do that, you actually take away what made your game unique. And I don't think there's anything wrong with catering to an audience. I don't think, we have this, it's exclusionary, everyone must be inclusive. No. Absolutely not. No, if you cater to a target audience and that target audience are lapping up your product, there is nothing wrong with trying to expand into another audience, but you must still cater to the people that made your game what it is. When you just suddenly say, yeah, we don't want to cater to that audience anymore, we want this audience, that's when you screw everything up and you lose them. So when they announced that they were toning down Dead or Alive 6, and they were trying to make it more just brawler-centric, you can get yourself lost in all the other brawler games out there. And there will be much, much better brawler games out there than the Dead or Alive series. And, of course, you alienate your customer base. You alienate the people that made the franchise what it is, which is the customer. When are people going to realize it is all about the customer? It's not about the image. It's not about the perception. It's not about the journalists, inverted commas, because they're not. They're activists. It's not about them. It's about the people that hand over. I haven't got my wallet handy. I wanted to pick up my wallet. They want to hand over cash dollar for your product. That is what it is ultimately about. And then when that came out, there was some kickback because people wanted the sexiness. They wanted what made Dead or Alive Dead or Alive. Good on them. Good on them. And so the developers came out again and they tried to correct what they said. And they said, well, when we say toned down, we mean we want to focus more on the brawler aspects, but at the same time, the main costumes, the initial costumes that the characters are going to wear are going to be more covered up. They're going to be more, I think they said Marvel superhero orientated. And so people who might be a little bit embarrassed to pick up a brawler with some revealing sexy laddies on the front might be able to get into the franchise. However, there will be revealing costumes, etc., but they will be unlocked or whatever it may be. We'll get to that shortly. And so they kind of tried to course correct, but I think it just caused more confusion because they still wanted to use the word toned down at the same time. And so people were just kind of unsure what they really were doing. Are these, okay, you're covering them up, you're toning it down, you're focusing more on the brawler aspect, and then you're saying there are going to be some nice little revealing costumes, but are there? And so, the marketing was just all over the place, and the audience was confused as to exactly what was going on. Needless to say, it had a huge effect on sales. And you've probably been eyeing this article from One Angry Gamer. Of course, this will be linked in the description box down below. And if you've had a look, these are Japan's sales for February. And Dead or Alive 6 does indeed top number 1 on the PlayStation 4. But look at those sales. 26,442. That is actually pathetic. That is actually pathetic. Now, it's, who is it? Koei Tecmo, who published this. They're not the developers, they're the publishers of this. And if we look to last February, Dynasty Warriors 9, which is, again, published by Koei Tecmo, 117,495. And this is the 9th offering in the Dynasty Warriors series. And Dynasty Warriors 9, for all intents and purposes, went down like an absolute lead balloon. It was really not well received at all. So 26,442 is disastrous. Now, these are physical. Again, these aren't digital. But this is absolutely disastrous in terms of sales. Hell, I was talking just a few days ago about Left Alive here at number 5, which was an absolute bomb in Japan, so much so that Square Enix, as we got in the intro, of course, pulled all streaming for it. Never mind just the cutscenes, they pulled all streaming of it in an effort to try and cover up the fact. They sold 17,622 copies. Just 9,000 less. Just under, about 8,500 less. Well, just around about 8,500 to 9,000 less. And that was in a mitigated disaster. And on a game which wasn't AAA by any stretch of the imagination, was the first in a potential franchise, and that was a disaster. So 26,442 is just a mitigated failure. But it's not all just the marketing. It's also the structure of the pricing, as I mentioned. You see, Dead or Alive 6 also announced their first, because there's going to be more, their first season pass at $93. The game comes out at $60, and then they announce a $93 season pass. So if you wanted to purchase the game plus the season pass, $153. Now, what do you get in that season pass? You get, I think, 60 costumes. You get a couple of new characters which are going to be unlocked, but that is just disgraceful. One of the fun things should just be to unlock multiple costumes anyway in a game that is costing you $60. So not only did they mess up the marketing, they completely outpriced people. Now, I've heard some idiots, I'm calling you idiots, tried to defend the fact, saying, well, at least they came out and they announced how much it was going to cost. Oh my God. Oh my God. If somebody walks up to you in a street, gets out a gun, shows it to you and says, hi, I'm going to point this at your head and then I'm going to rob you, okay? That doesn't make it good. Oh, that robber. Yeah, he got me. He was so kind. Oh, I know. He came out to me, he got out his gun, showed me what it was all about, showed me what the safety was, showed me it off, so he was a legitimate threat. Yeah, same here, actually, same here. And then he pointed at my head and said, right, well, actually, I'm going to use this. I'm going to point it at your head in a minute, and I'm going to rob you. I'm going to rob you of everything. And then I'm going to pistol whip you. Oh, yeah, I wondered how you got that, 17 stitches above your eye. Yeah. Doesn't make it right! Hi, we're going to absolutely rip you off. Oh, well done. So, yes, you're an idiot if you defended that. Just terrible. All round, absolutely terrible from Dead or Alive 6. Confused marketing, poor marketing, mixed signals, terrible pricing structure. What does it result in? Failure. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description box down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.